Okay. What I would like to spend time showing you is what I think is the most powerful part of Drive. I mean, I think the collaboration is great that you did in documents and you did in presentation, or sometimes they call it slides. But what I want to show you is one that most people don't know about, and that's called forms. Anybody in here done that one? This is how you can give an assessment, and it will grade it for you. I'll show you how to do that. You can collect information about your students. You can collect information from their parents. So if you will get to Google Drive. Is this one a handout? Yes, this handout is the one called Google Drive Forms and Flubaroo. Okay. The other two handouts, Google Chrome Apps and Extensions and Google Drive Add-Ons, I may not have time for, but I promise that I'm going to make Ellen give me that time next session so that I can show you that, because that's really powerful too. But I think highest on my priority is these forms. So, thank you. So, in Google Drive, if you will click on Create, one of the options is called Form. And when Form opens up, at the top, you will see Untitled Form.
We'll probably see Welcome to New Google Forms.
You could.
Should we?
Now, I don't know if you will also see, because you are a Google Apps for School, at the top, and you're never going to see it on mine because I don't belong to your school system, but at the top you might see a checkbox that says Require Sign-In to view this form. Do you see that? Hot diggity. So if you want to require students to sign in order to see that, you check mark that. It will be up in here somewhere. I don't have it on mine because I'm not logged in as a CPS teacher. And under that, you'll see another checkbox that says automatically collect the respondent's username. We all have students who never put their names on the paper. So if you check mark that, doesn't matter whether they put their name on it or not, you're going to get it. Okay? Thank you very much, Google. Okay. So, if you were going to ship this out to your kids, if this was an assessment, you would for sure click that username automatically added. Okay. So let's get into the form. At the top, it says Untitled Form in bold. You can backspace that out. And for practice today, we are going to make a form with about 5 questions. I would like you to make it content related for who you are. So if you're a science teacher, science questions. If you're a language arts teacher, language arts questions. And this isn't anything you're going to ship to your kids. This is practice, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect. So title it whatever the content area is. So I'm going to make a science. I'm going to call it practice so I know. A science practice quiz. Now, right under that is something called form description. And you could write a sentence or two or a paragraph explaining what you want kids to do with this. It might be you want them to watch a movie and then fill in these answers. You know? It could be you want them to go someplace and look at a PowerPoint and fill in these answers. So that form description could be anything that is pertinent, Or if you don't need anything, you can just leave that blank.
That's your direction.
That's your directions to the students. Now I'm going to try to move this closer to me because I need to have two hands to type. So you could just say, whoop, 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 whoop.
So on our handout, at number 5, it would probably be a good idea to identify form description as directions for student activity.
Correct. You could pencil that in. Thank you. You need to edit mine next time. So I just wrote, please answer the following questions. And then where it says question title, I want you to click. And right now it says untitled question. Backspace that out. Now, this is not the question itself. This is a 1 or 2 or at the most 3-word description of what it's going to be about. So I'm going to skip that for just a minute and give you an example. For instance, my first question is going to be multiple choice, just like it says here as the default. And my first question is going to be, how much of Earth's water supply is made of ocean water? So I'm going to type that, my first question.
So help text is the actual question.
Help text is the actual question.
I like that. Number 8. Here.
And then my question title might be ocean water.
Or if it was English, the indicator scale.
Yeah, could be. Now, where this title shows up is eventually once students take this or people take this, their responses are going to show up in a spreadsheet in your Google Drive. The title is going to be the column header, and then all the students' answers are going to be below that. So the reason you don't want to put the question where it says question title is because you don't want this big old thing scrolling through that box at the top of your spreadsheet. Make sense?
You can adjust the size of the spreadsheet.
Yeah, you
can
can.
have the question so that you can look at the question at the same time as you look.
Yeah, you can. You can. But you'll see when we get to spreadsheets why I do it this way. And I may be a peculiar because I do it this way, but I've done so many of these that I've learned that from my own deal. So where it says option 1, you put one of the multiple choice answers kids could pick. So I'm going to put 100%. And then click where option 2 is, and you can put another choice. These are the multiple choice answers to the question, of which one will be correct. And you can give it a couple more, or you can stop right there. Now, if you want kids to fill in something else, maybe you didn't give them any of the right answers, and you want to test their ability, you could click Add Other. And then when they get to this, they have to fill in a different answer. So if they don't think it's 100%, they don't think it's 97%, they don't think it's 50%, maybe they think it's 85%, they could fill that in for their answer. So you can give them choices and then you can let them pick other things. Okay? Make it a required question so they can't skip on past it. And under advanced settings, I think this is pretty cool. If you have kids taking tests or taking this thing next to somebody else and you don't want them to cheat off of the other person, under advanced settings, you can click Shuffle Option Order. Woo-hoo. Got them at every corner, don't we? And then click Done. That question is finished. Yeah.
Does the required question done mean they have to answer it before they move on, or can they go back to it and answer it if they want to think about it?
You can do it two ways. I'm just going to show you all questions at once, but you could break them up by page breaks. If you broke them up by page breaks, they would have to answer that one before they went on. But because we're in our practice here going to put them all in one page, they can go back and forth. And then you'll see, you'll all take this when we finish, okay? All right. Then we're going to come here and add another question. That's called an item. So click the drop-down arrow. And let's do another multiple choice, but we're going to make it true-false. You don't see true-false there? It's because true-false is a version of multiple choice. One choice is true, one choice is false. Yes? Ellen's coming to look. I think it'll be in your drive if you closed it. Okay, so come up with a true and false question. So my question is, the hydrosphere protects us from the sun's harmful rays. Now I got to come up with a question title for it. And I'm just going to call it sun protection. Option 1 is going to be true. And the next option 2 is going to be false.
Good question. What is go to page based on answer?
You can send them to another page.
So that's the different pages you were talking about. So if we selected that, each.
No, that's not. Yeah, that is what I'm talking about. You could create a page break. It could send them to another page. They could come back. Okay?
Wait. So if they chose true, it could send them to a page that describes why true is not the correct answer?
No.
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 It's not like a choose your own adventure?
It would typically
No.
be used for like survey kinds of things. So it might say, have you ever felt bullied? And if you answered yes, then you go to a page where it would say, please describe your bullying experience. If you answered no, it might take you to a place where you are asked a different question, like, have you ever been bullied?
So I guess to answer your question, it is sort of like choose your own adventure.
But, so then if a kid gets it wrong, if it's a multiple choice and they get it wrong, could we then direct them to a page with a video of how to do it right? Like, let's say
Yes, you could.
And then after they view that, can they go back to the regular system of questions, or will you have to replicate the same questions in that? So like if the tree branches and they get it right, they're good to go. If they get it wrong, they watch the video, can they jump back over to can you tell it to go back to the other
Yeah,
part? Or
I think you can.
Can they amend their answer?
yeah, what she said.
Yes,
Can
I think they can.
I'm like,
I think they can. But that's more than I want to show you today. Yeah. But remember, folks, this is Google, and anything, they own YouTube. So anything you want to know, you basically put in, how do you do this? YouTube, videos, and there's somebody out there that's put a video out for it. I mean, honestly, it's so wonderful. Okay, so make it a desired question again. You can shuffle answers if you want. and click Done. Now let's add another item, and let's make this a text item. And let's pretend that we didn't click that thing, that checkbox that made them sign in with their username. So let's type as the question, what is your name? And the title for it would be name. And the default at the moment, because it probably is thinking for me, oh, I did it, text, okay? That will give you just a little space. So you could type 1, 2, 3 words, not sentences, not paragraphs. That's a different option. Sentences and paragraphs would be paragraph text, okay? But we're just doing text. Make it a required question. Click Done.
Okay, let's say we want paragraph text. Are they really limited to that box, like as in when they get to the end of the
Oh no, they can type forever.
So it'll grow for them?
Yep.
Okay.
But the only catch with paragraph text, and I know you have to do it, but I'm going to show you an application that will grade this for you. It will grade true, false, multiple choice, text. It will not grade the paragraph. So you could get it to grade everything but that, then you'd have to go in and grade the paragraph. Okay? Still pretty wonderful. Let's add a scale question. So you see how that works. And my scale question is going to have to do with recycling. So you can make any kind of scale question.
Where do we get scale?
Go into the right side. It's in the middle column when you hit item.
When you clicked Add Item and you clicked the down arrow, one of the options was scale. Okay? Now, you can make it as big or as small as you want. There are spin boxes. The default is 1 to 5.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you like pizza? Like that kind of scale?
Right.
I was thinking mathematical scale, like going from small to
Right.
large, a ratio, or I don't know, everything, not what this is.
Okay. So then you have to label it. So number 1 for me would be, we don't recycle. And number 5 would be, we recycle everything. And I'm going to make it a required question. And I'm going to say done. Now, for time's sake, we're going to stop at that many questions. But in my scatterbrained mode, I asked for their name after the first 2 questions. That was bad. Name should have come first, right? So, with this form, I can put my 4-headed arrow on top of that question. I can click and drag it up to the top. Oh, no, didn't. I went too far. Okay? If I ever need to get back in to edit that, all I have to do is click the pencil and I can edit it. And then when I'm finished editing, I say done. If I have a type of question that's going to happen over and over again, maybe true, false, I could copy the question and just change the help text or the question itself. Okay? Or if I've decided, gee whiz, I made a horrible question, I can throw it in the trash and it's no longer in my form. Now, up at the top, above where the name of it is, you will see a button that says Change Theme. Right now it's just ugly plain Jane black on white paper. But thank you very much, Google. They want it to look good. And when you click Change Theme, on the right-hand side of your screen, you will see all kinds of themes that Google came up with. And you can just pick one. And when you pick it, you're going to see what it looks like in your form. Ooh, nice, isn't it? Yeah. We should all have a little spice in our life. Pictures does it for me. All right, everybody with me?
No, I'm sorry, I got lost.
Change theme.
Oh, got it, okay, never mind, sorry.
Okay. Now we get the fun of taking it. Okay? So click on View Live Form. Oh, good question. Can we go back and number those questions? Some people do that, but I highly recommend not doing it because you'll invariably change the order of those questions at some point. And now we've got question 2 before number 1. So I don't suggest putting numbers before the question. Really doesn't matter what the number is. It's going to show up binga, 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 bing in your spreadsheet. Okay? So, time to take your own questionnaire. What is your name? Put it in.
How do I make one of my teammates take my questionnaire?
We're going to do that in a minute.
Okay, all right.
Kathy, do you have to type your name as P, or does it automatically just take the first response?
It'll take, you can decide which one. Now I'm going to make all of the answers correct, okay? So you're taking your own, give the correct answers. We'll see that in a minute, okay?
So are you making the control right now?
Am I what?
You're making the control right now?
Yes.
Because you put teacher in. Okay. Yes.
Yep.
That'll be the key that grades it.
Yep. So this one is the key that grades it. Typically, I suggest you take it first with all the right answers. But the thing we're going to use, you can pick any, you could take it last and make that the key. Okay? It'll be all right. If you forgot or ran out of time because it was midnight and your pillow was calling. Okay. And when you're finished, click Submit. Now, at this point, you could submit another response, but we don't want to do that. Instead, click your Go Back arrow, and you'll be back to the form. Now I want to show you how to get the web address, the URL, for this form, because that's what you're going to give to your students. And when we see it, it's going to be painfully long. No student could ever type it all in. So I'm going to show you how to shorten it. So if you right-click the address line, it will highlight it. And you can copy it. Now, no student I've ever had could put all that typed out. So I'm going to take you to a new site, open another browser window. And this site's owned by Google. They know what we're up against. GOO.GL. And press enter. GOO.GL is a Google URL shortener. Now, because I do this a lot, I have a lot of shortened ones. That's why you see a healthy list here. Whoop. So now I'm going to right-click where it says paste your long URL, and I'm going to paste it in. And I'm going to say, Google, please shorten the URL. And now it's going to give me a URL that is much shorter. It will be 6 letters and digits. Capitalization matters. So what I want you to do with the yellow Post-it notes on your table is everybody take a Post-it note and write your shortened address on that Post-it note piece of paper, and then pass it around to your buddies so that they can take your form. And let's do at least 2. Time is of the essence. I need another hour. Okay, to take a look at those answers that came in on your form, you need to go back to Google Drive. To take a look at the answers that came in on your form, you need to go back to Google Drive. So one of those tabs you have open is Google Drive. And as I look at mine down here, I have 2 entries for it. I have one that says quiz. It's got a dot and a line after it, a dot and a line after it. And then I have another one that when I roll over it, the screen tip is responses. And the icon looks like a spreadsheet. Go ahead and click on the one that looks like a spreadsheet. It will also have the latest time. All right? And now I see my answers from my students. And by gosh, the teacher took it twice. Don't you know? I could delete that line. Yeah, but I'm not going to do it now. Okay? Now, you've got the answers, and honestly, as a teacher, that would make me happy enough. But if I've got 100 kids, and it's their spelling test, I don't want to grade 100 of those. So, Google gives you a certain degree of power in their applications. And then to get even more power, they create something called add-ons. And some of the add-ons are made by Google, and some of them are made by independent people. In fact, you have a handout that I promised to talk about next week called Google Drive Add-Ons. Next session. Okay? And the one we're going to add on is called Flubaroo, or Flubbaroo, or whatever you want to pronounce it. Okay? So how do we get that? Well, if you look at the menu on the top of your spreadsheet, you will see an item called Add-Ons. And Flubberoo is already on mine because I'm logged in as myself, and I installed it on my home computer and on my home laptop, and it comes up here too. But you don't have it. So for you to get it, you will have to say, click on Get Add-Ons. Okay? But just to quickly show you, because Ellen's making me take a break and stop. Okay? But just to show you, if I hover over Flubberoo and click Grade Assignment, waiting, working, it says, how do I want to assign points? 1, 1. That knows that that's a student name, but I could assign points if I wanted. Or if it's that paragraph text, skip grading. Okay? And we're all good. And now I'm going to say, oh, I could skip grading on the scale, because that's not going to be a grade. I'm going to say continue, and presto changeo, it asks who is the correct response. I'm going to pick the teacher. And the magic begins.
So you always take your own quiz so that you have a key.
I do. But you saw I could take it after the kids, and I could choose the last one too. I had my option of whose to take. And now when I say grade it, ooh boy, the teacher got 2 points, Sally got none, Aiden got 2, Olivia got none. Uh-oh, I have to reteach a little, don't I? Oh, it's free from the good folks at Google. I keep saying, when are they going to charge me for this? And my son, who's an IT guy, says, never, Mom. They make enough money without having to charge you. And they love education. Okay? So I literally have to stop. I have 2 handouts I would love to do with you, but I promise in October, I'm going to grab the microphone before Ellen gets it, and we're going to talk about those things.
Kathy gets to go first. I swear on the Bible, Kathy gets to go first next time, and I won't hog all the time. So she can start with this next time. It is critically important that you complete the evaluation. I know not all of you have devices with you today. The evaluation is online. I'm going to show you how to get to it. I am hopeful that if you don't have a device to complete the evaluation before you leave tonight, that you will do it maybe tomorrow morning before school starts, or sometime, within the next 24 hours. I promised that I would stress the importance of that to you. I want to show you also the between session area that we'd like you to converse in. So I have just flipped over to the tab that puts me back in the session 1 materials. And in that navigation menu on the left-hand side, you'll see that there is a link to Mayerson CoLab. And we aren't entirely certain why, but we are blocked. So from that computer, we get need permission. And that's not our computer, right? That's not yours? That's a Mayerson computer. So it's blocked, but you should not be blocked from that. And when you go to that CoLab website, it's 3.2, I think, is that the one? And there is an evaluation. There are also 3 discussion prompts. And I'm not saying you have to do all 3 of those. Honestly, I'm not saying you have to do any of those. But I'm hopeful that at least one of those might inspire you. There's a discussion prompt on student engagement. So I'm hoping that as you watch your students with these computers, that you can make some observations about their level of engagement. Do you see anything different about how they're attacking or approaching their learning when the computers are involved? Can you give some feedback on the digital lessons, the model lessons that have been shared with you? So that's one of the discussion prompts. There's another one called Shining Moments, and that's the idea behind that is those moments when you look up and you just all is right with the world. You just have that feeling like teaching is the right place to be, and the kids are learning, and this feels good, and I'm so happy I made this choice. And you know, we don't get enough of those, but everybody's had those. So describe one of those moments. Okay, that's another discussion prompt. And then one that I think we can all relate to, it's called Vente Venting. And it's about blowing off steam, pun intended. And it's a place for you to vent a little bit about the obstacles or the challenges. So that's a way for us to connect between sessions. So I hope you'll join those conversations, okay?
We showed you a lot of power today. I'm just here to tell you there's a whole lot more, and I'm going to show you part of that next time. There's a thesaurus, there's bibliography citation that goes automatically into your kids' research papers. Whew, there's a lot. Thanks for coming and have a wonderful night.